Hi, I'm Monique Wilhite, and I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've practiced in Phoenix for approximately 30 years. I've been a prosecutor, I've been a civil litigator, and most recently, I'm a defense attorney. And for a short time, I taught law at San Diego County College of Law here in Arizona. How I feel about the death penalty. Well, many believe that an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The death penalty is appropriate for someone who has killed another human being. The only problem is that you have to be pretty sure that you're getting the right person. And many times, some individuals are not treated fairly. They don't get the rigorous defense that another person with more money or a different race might get, and they're found guilty. And then when they're found guilty, they're subject to the death penalty. So it's one thing to convict a guilty man and send him to prison. It's another thing to convict an innocent person and kill them. So the process in Maricopa County is that when a certain crime is committed, the prosecution or the state has a certain amount of time to notice the death penalty. So under due process, the defendant has a right to know what type of penalty or how severe the penalty is going to be. So the state will notice the death penalty, which triggers a lot of different things for that particular case. So as far as economics and race are concerned, certainly there is a disparity. But it can be political as well. So sometimes if there is a huge outcry from the community for a particular person who has been accused of committing a crime to receive the death penalty, that person might be more likely to receive it or get that death penalty notice. And as I said before, there could be a race issue. For instance, if there is a white victim and a black defendant, there's probably a greater likelihood that that defendant will get the notice of the death penalty. So it's hard to say. I don't have the statistics right now, but I can tell you that 100%, if someone doesn't have enough money and if someone is in an environment where they don't have a lot of influence, they will receive less of a defense, a harsher penalty, and possibly the death penalty more likely than not. What a lot of people may not know about is there is an economic component to the death penalty, because many times a person who gets that death penalty notice is being represented by counsel, whether it be the public defender or a contract counsel who represents indigent defendants. And representation of someone who's facing the death penalty could cost the county hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you've got to have a first chair and a second chair. There's a mitigation expert. There's all types of experts involved, probably in the actual trial and also in the sentencing process, because if they're found guilty, there's this big sentencing process where they get to have witnesses, family members come in and talk about their background, all the things that could mitigate them from or keeping them from receiving the death penalty. So they could either get life, natural life, or the death penalty. And so they get to have a mitigation hearing to determine that. And that just in and of itself costs the county hundreds of thousands of dollars, because under the United States Constitution, the right to counsel under the Sixth Amendment, they've got to provide that for the defendant. And it's a big economic hit to the county. So they really have to monitor how many death allegations they make throughout a particular period, because there's an economic problem there. One of the reasons that the death penalty is so dangerous is because there are human beings who are implementing the system and the process. So you have people, for instance, the prosecutor may have another interest in pursuing a death penalty case. And then you have the defense attorney who may have a monetary interest. Then you may have, there's just so many conflicting interests there that it might not all be for justice. It might be for those personal gain, maybe political status or status in the office, or someone who wants to be the county attorney and they want a particular record. So you have that situation, and so it might not be fair. So you might have a prosecutor who doesn't do the right thing, who doesn't follow the rules. And in Maricopa County, it's been discovered that that's been the case many times. Many prosecutors have been sanctioned for hiding evidence, hiding witnesses, basically abusing the process. And if you get it wrong, because everyone has these competing interests, then you've got this person that's going through the process that may get the death penalty and may be completely innocent of the charges, but then they're going to be on death row for some other reason. And as you said, it can't be undone. And there have been countless stories of cold cases being reopened and the use of DNA where individuals have been in prison for 20, 30 years, and it's discovered that they're innocent, and they're released, but their whole life it's gone. And one thing they can do, they can sue the county, they can sue the state, but they can never get that time back. And in the cases of the death penalty, they can't bring them back to life.
Okay.
One of the reasons that people are proponents of the death penalty is that it's the only way to punish someone for taking another life, and it's to help the victims heal. But it doesn't necessarily. I would just argue that it doesn't help them heal. I've been in many sentencings where the victim, they make a presentation about their loved one who has been killed and the pain that the family has suffered, but because the defendant gets the death penalty, is not going to take all that away. And I think there's a bigger risk in killing someone for a crime they may not have committed than to have the victims heal in that way, right? They don't need to heal because someone else dies. They can heal in a different way. So I think that the cost of killing someone that didn't commit a crime is higher than the need to bring wholeness or healing to a victim. Not taking away from that. It's just that that just seems to be a bigger mistake.